on the market is WTI Crude down again. We're talking 50, well, around the 52 level. Last week we were around 55.
Yeah, that seems to be the upper limit. The long-term curve for oil was, geez, oil dropped just precipitously in the last half hour.
You got the DXY at 97 today, right? I mean, isn't this Santelli's like Maginot line?
Yes.
We're getting into some weird areas here.
We really are. I've got to tell you that China's become a proxy for oil, and oil's become a proxy for China. Even though oil, understand, please, everybody, we are the swing producer. And we determine what price oil does, not the Saudis anymore. And there's been a big ramp up. We had a big rig count ramp up on Friday. We're not quitting. We're not quitting. And the Permian is just gigantic, and it's not running out, despite what bears say. I had Rusty Brazil on recently. He's RBN. I think he's the best guy on oil. A lot of people would agree with that. The oil curve is still 50, 55 out 5 years, but oh my, there's just the production is insane coming from the Permian.
Let's get to the opening bell here. S&P at the CNBC Real-Time Exchange. And the big board this morning, low-cost carrier Spirit Airlines, celebrating its first listing anniversary. And we'll talk to CEO Ted Christie in the next hour. Over at the NASDAQ, it's California-based East West Bancorp, celebrating its 20th listing anniversary. Haven't touched on this upgrade of Tesla over at Canaccord.
Big
which
upgrade.
Basically says any concern you might have had has been allayed.
They're using $15 a share in fiscal year 2020. They're talking about having, they got a giant amount of capital now under, they're not really worried about any balance sheet. And they mentioned, I thought this was very interesting, they reference how Ellison joining the board has created maybe a quieter, more calm Elon Musk.
There are a number of other stories that aren't necessarily positive for the company in terms of repairs, in terms of
delivery staff,
deliveries, and the backlog no longer being significant.
No, there's issues. Look, I think that this is the kind of thing we can't forget. There are a considerable number of shorts who are very smart about this and are looking at this and saying, like, for instance, what I just said by even reading the Canaccord note, legitimized a position that they think is completely illegitimate given the news flow. But I'm just saying that there's back and forth about the Model 3, and there's good shipments to the EU and China. Now, then what you hear from the bears is there's good shipments, but how about the buyers? So it is very much it's probably the ultimate battleground other than Amazon.
They also have that payment potentially coming up if the stock did not hit. I don't believe it's likely to hit the level that it needed to, although I'm not remembering exactly what the number is. But they do have the money on hand to pay it.
They do. They have a lot of
cash.
That
convertible. But it is likely they will need to, as opposed to be able to meet it with shares.
But sometimes the firepower, the intellectual firepower, say, of the shorts has historically exceeded the longs. I'll be honest about that. But it is really this Canaccord note basically said, look, they're the only auto company that's invested.
There's literally a line in the note that says the company has an insurmountable lead in autonomous driving.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
And their target goes from 330 to 450. It's not a small target.
Oh, and, there's a couple things happening in this market. There's still a considerable short base that is built up on any mistake. For instance, Electronic Arts was a terrible conference call, and then they do Apex Legends. And, Apex Legends, 10 million players in 3 days. Again, I mean, just kind of, I guess...